What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to today's edition of Free Tool Friday. My name is Tyler S. Clark, co-founder of Dream Firms, where we help you to create generational wealth and impact by systemizing how you attract and win the business of your dream clients, specific to the accounting profession, of course. And what we are discussing today is the number one reason why high quality clients fire their accounting firms. And what I want to do to kick off today's lesson is I want to talk about an experience that I had with a private coaching client earlier this week that I think really sets the stage for today's lesson. So they jumped onto the call, and we're in, of course, the final stretch of this chaotic tax season here. And when they hopped onto the call, you could see the frustration as plain as day on their face. And the frustration was 100% warranted. And I understand why. They had done everything right, and still the client that they had was frustrated with them, was doubting their expertise, was calling into question their relationship, the investments they paid into their company. Everything had just seemed like it started to fray and really just get pulled apart at the seams. And when you have just been doing so much work and you have been trying your best to deliver value, and that value is not being recognized the way that we feel it should or deserves to be, frustration is the natural point there. And once we've come to that point, the natural conclusion is, yeah, we can try and salvage it. We can try and move forward, which of course we're going to try to do, but odds are it's going to split. And that split is normally necessary. But this is when we go into, okay, should this have happened? Maybe yes. Could we have avoided it? Maybe yes. But what was the driving reason for this in the first place? And this is why most people, number one reason that people leave their accounting professionals, and if you know what it is, why don't you just guess real quick in the comments section. But to help you with this answer and to help avoid this problem in the future, the number one reason people leave their accounting firms behind is lack of communication. It's the number one thing. Now, what's interesting about this is that you have to make sure that you are looking at this particular problem through the right lens. For instance, the client that was expressing this frustration, and when I'm working with my private coaching clients, I almost always will just say, wait a minute, let's zoom out for a minute. Is this type of client the client that you want in the long term? In other words, are they one of your dream clients? And they thought about it for about half a second and they went, no. And I said, okay, why? Well, they're not in the right industry. They're not a business client. They are a personal tax return. And I said, okay, that's not a problem, right? Like when we think about this, we're letting one thing that's taking up a lot of time, a lot of attention, that isn't actually even something that we want, detract us from being able to go and focus on the people who do deserve this extremely high level of communication, this extremely high level of thought. But now this one problem client that isn't even a dream client, we're letting them occupy all this resource, time, and energy. Why? What for? And again, I understand right now we got to meet our promises, but coming out of the chaos of tax season, out of the turbulence, right? It's like, okay, wait a minute. We don't necessarily need to worry about this the way that we have been worrying about it. Let's move away from that and move towards our dream clients. Because here's the funny thing about that. One man's trash is another man's treasure. I can guarantee to you that just because this is not their dream client, it is someone else's dream client, and someone else will view this 1040, this personal tax return, this W-2 earner as their dream client. I have a number of clients, their dream firms are literally tax returns, and that's fine. Your dream firm is how you imagine it, what you like as a service delivery model. That's all about what you want. So when someone is not understanding your value proposition, it may be because we didn't explain it properly. It may simply be because, and most likely, they're the wrong fit for the wrong firm. That's okay. It's time to part ways so they can go and find their right solution, and you can pursue the right type of clients that appreciate what you do. And the funniest part about that story of this client that I was working with earlier this week is that they had done everything right. The accountant had done everything right. They had communicated ahead of time the questions and concerns that this person was going to experience, and had a lot to do with withholdings. Why am I owing this year? We've never owed before. And they had already communicated all of this one-on-one to just a personal tax attorney. And then for whatever reason, they didn't follow the advice. They didn't follow the guidance. And now it came around to bite them in the butt. And guess who they're trying to blame? The person who literally tried to avoid this problem, but they chose to ignore the advice and guidance. That's going to happen. And when that happens, time to separate. Make sure we part peacefully, professionally, so that we don't need to worry about that anymore. So they did the communication. They did it the right way, but it was the wrong person. And if we work with the right people, guess what? That advice, that guidance, all the effort and care that you put into your services and your delivery, making sure your expertise is fully understood and maximized, it will be appreciated. And if it's not appreciated, it's the wrong fit. Let them go and find another relationship that is better suited for that particular type of individual. So again, the number one reason that people leave their accounting professionals behind is because of lack of communication. But normally it's because we're communicating to the wrong type of person. And no matter how much you communicate to the wrong person, they're never going to see the value in what you guys have to offer. So please, when you recognize that's the relationship you're going through, part ways peacefully, go and find the people that ultimately do recognize, respect your expertise and what you bring to the table. So I hope you found today's Free Tool Friday to be valuable. You're almost at the finish line. Make sure you have a fantastic block of time where you enjoy it with your family, recover, come back even stronger, because the problems of this tax season, if you work with dream firms, I guarantee you will not repeat them next tax season. Remember, only you can create your dream firm, but we help you every single step of the way. Have a fantastic weekend, everyone, and we will see you next week for Free Tool Friday for a special edition when we are closing out tax season. Talk to you soon.